Hi everybody, I've been joined by Mel, the terrain tutor. Welcome to the studio, buddy.
Thanks, Justin. Hello there.
Right, so we are sitting down to talk about your new Kickstarter. So
Yes.
you partnered up with Dave Taylor. Did he twist the arm and say, "You are my YouTuber, you are making a book with me"?
I think Dave came a hunting for me, to be perfectly honest. I mean, me and Dave, we've actually been friends for long before the channel, way back in the day. I used to run an Imperial Guard blog. Yeah, called Corbania Prime.
Yeah.
And Dave obviously does his Blood Pact.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big blogger. And so we used to be mates on that. And then we sort of reconnected when I did the Terrain Tutor.
Yeah.
And yeah, we decided, we want to do a book. I've been thinking about doing a book for a while, but I've been sort of put off by the technicalities of doing a book. Yeah, whereas Dave, that's his thing.
Yeah, he used to do it in the past, and he's recently went through the process.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was part of that book as well, the Army, Legions and Hordes, and what I know John was as well.
Yeah, he got his little dig in there.
Yeah, he got his bit in there, I got my bit in there, but Dave's been through the entire process, so from that sort of point of view, it's real low pressure. Do you know what I mean? For me, all I need to do is concentrate on the terrain, and I know Dave's got that side sorted. So yeah, we decided we had a chat. We had a chat last year when we met up at Salute, and it was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's plan it for a year. It's been in the planning for a year, but it's suddenly got very real, very real.
All projects have that moment where I actually have to do stuff.
Yes, I'm actually here. I've got to do it. I mean, there's no challenge in doing it because it's terrain and it's what I love and it's what I know, but it's the reality of I'm doing a book.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing that you have in spades is you've got a lot of experience with doing the Terrain Tutor channel. Now, I'm going to ask a question, and it's probably going to seem silly, but for anyone who does not know you, who is sitting here going, "Who is this man sitting talking on my BC4 video?" What is it you do on the Terrain Tutor channel?
Right. Okay. Well, I'm basically a passionate community member. I've never worked for any companies or anything like that. You know, I'm literally one of the community who's got thrown forward. And my passion has always been terrain. I'm a gamer. You know, I've been playing 40K. Well, I started with fantasy when I was 15. But my passion for terrain started probably when I was about 3 or 4.
Oh, right.
Yeah. My mum was a single mum, and she used to have a craft shop in North Wales, in Anglesey. Yeah, and in the craft shop, there was a small selection of the old Jarvis and Woodland Scenics materials for making railway layouts.
Yeah.
And so, being a single mum, every summer, I spent my summers sitting in a craft shop.
Yeah.
And obviously needed something to do. So I had the little plastic army men, and I would make dioramas and play sets for them. And the old boys who did the railway stuff would come in, show me techniques. And so I actually started making terrain for wargaming 10 years before I discovered wargaming existed. And then when I was 15, we moved to England. I came across White Dwarf. I built my first hill before I bought my first Skeleton Army box set. Yeah, so terrain has always been part of my life. And then probably about 6 years ago, family went through, after the recession, the recession hit us tough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we lost the business that we had at the time. We lost the home, had to move back in with my mum, and I got depression. I got hit really hard. And by the time we got into our own house and we were setting ourselves back up, I was sitting on a sofa rotting, absolutely rotting on anxiety meds and depression meds. And Kez just wanted me to do something. Yeah. And so the Terrain Tutor was created more as a way of me being productive.
Yeah,
you know,
for you.
And the response was amazing. I mean, not just the response from the community, but putting yourself out there and doing all the tutorials for free, which is my sort of line, you know, everything goes out for free. There's no paywalls or anything like that. Yeah. And then the response I got from the community saying thank you and picking me up actually dealt with my depression and my anxiety far better than the meds did. Yeah. So the Terrain Tutor basically became my rehab. Yeah. And rehab rolled into a job. And, you know, so I started, 5-6 years ago doing little tutorials on how to make terrain. 5 years later, 500 videos, 114,000 subscribers, Patreon, and here at Beasts of War doing a book. You know, so it's been a hell of a ride. But yeah, I just came from the community as nobody. And my passion and just threw me up there, and the community's put me on a pedestal. A lot of the time, I don't feel like I deserve to be on it, to be perfectly honest.
You do good work.
I know, but you know what I mean? I don't know, perhaps it's a bit of the depression and that sort of stuff, the lasting, the legacies and the doubt, but it's a hell of a place, it's a hell of a position to be put in by the community. It's on a pedestal for being the community's terrain guy. And I'm not saying I'm the only terrain guy. There's loads of good terrain guys, but having the community put you up there, it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, well, it's something I always say to people is, if you have a passion for this industry or this hobby, and you have something to say, put it out there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like the community that's out there, there's some incredible people who are just so supportive and will just help you along. And actually, if they see you're doing something and they think they've got maybe something to add to it, constructive criticism in this community is fabulous, because there's always something someone can add. And they're not just sitting there going, "Oh, you're crap. You've done that wrong." They'll say, "Well, actually, you know, if you had used maybe this technique, that technique, you know," and then that just generates more for you. You can add more.
The comments of my videos are much like that. I'll put out a technique and then a load of people go, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" And I can guarantee I will learn something new just from the comments of every. I mean, it's a bit frustrating because you put a video out and someone, I should have thought about that, you know. But, you know, you are always learning. And I think above all, this community responds to passion.
Yes.
You know, if you're passionate, it doesn't matter your ability. If you're passionate about it, we'll get behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I seem to have a knack for terrain. You know, I seem to be able to turn a decent piece out, and I can explain it reasonably enough without too many and stuff like that, and whatchamacallits. And people have just pushed me and kept going, and it's been wonderful. And like I say, it's been a hell of a journey that's led to this point now, which is like, right, we need a book.
Yeah. Well, there's the big question for this video then is, what exactly are you hoping to pop into this book? What are you going to be wedging in? Because I mean, like, you've got all of that content there. So how do you distill that down into a book?
To be truthful, when I approached the book with the idea that it can't just be a rehash of my old content. Yeah. Now, one of the problems I have when I'm making tutorials is that you'll know yourself how long it takes to do a tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what you get is this situation of, I can show so many techniques, but it's going to take me 2 days to do that.
Yeah.
So since I did, say, the videos I did 3-4 years ago, my personal techniques and my knowledge on those techniques have expanded considerably because I keep using them. But I haven't reached the point where there's enough content to justify redoing a video, or I just don't have the time to revisit the subject.
Yeah.
So the book gives me an opportunity across the board to go along and say, this is what I know right now.
Yeah.
This is what I've learned. So everything in the book will be beyond my videos, perhaps with the exception of the ones that have come out in the last couple of months.
Yes.
But anything older than 6 months, I'll be improving on. So everything I've learned, everything in the comments that people have mentioned and I've gone into, all that's in the book. And the idea is that if people come to my channel, there's 500 tutorials for them there.
It's a lot of content.
That's a lot to catch up on. So a book gives me an opportunity to say, look, here's everything you need, all the essentials across the board, tools, material, theory, design. Then let's look at every common wargaming table we play. You know, your Greenfield, your Snowfield, your sci-fi, your Gothic ruins. Let's go deep delve into that. Show you all the techniques you need, to produce a table on that side. Now, we might not produce a table, but I only need 1 or 2 pieces to demo the techniques.
Yes.
And once you know the techniques, you can just run with it.
Yeah, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, so it's very much about bringing knowledge up to date and then providing a book that is essentially a worktop manual. You know, it's supposed to sit on your bench top. I mean, I even turned around to Dave and said, look, can we paint on the pages? And he's like, what? I said, I want to be able to take paint, stick it on a page, and colour match it to my colours. So when they're mixing colours and I say, go for this blue for oceans, they can mix their blue up, they can paint it on the page, let it dry and see if it dries to the same colour. Yeah, but you need a quality paper for that.
I see.
So Dave's been like stumped because I've been like, how much room have I got? And he's like, well, just give me the words. And I'm like, yeah, but in the footers of each page, what I could do is I could put like terrain ideas. So if you're doing a desert table, I can do a list of scattered terrain you could do for a desert table. And we can do that for every footer. Yeah, so I've been like, how small can the writing be? You know, and Dave's like, just send me the words and we'll fit it in. And so even with the Kickstarter itself, it's all about getting pages. You know, it's about getting me pages so I can fill it because I know what I'm talking about. I know what I want to put into it. Yeah, I've got huge sheets of bullet points of lists of everything that needs to go in. And then everything that can go in if we get more pages. Yeah, so it's really about distilling meltdown into a book, which is quite a scary thought if you think about it.
Well, this is something I discussed with Dave recently. We recently did a quick interview with him for his book. and he was actually talking about having to kill his darlings, so actually trimming out certain things. And I'd say that'll be the biggest hit for.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, do I want to leave that bit out? But that leads to this, leads to that.
I'll be honest with you, that's my biggest concern over the stretch goals and that sort of stuff, and the Kickstarter itself. You know, I know how much room I've got to start off with. I know how much room I could end up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very much of the attitude of, I'm not going to pad it out to fill those pages. I have what I want to include in those pages if I get those pages.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I was quite keen about the book's laid out in 3 content sections. Now, the first one is theoretical.
Yeah.
So tools, materials, design, theory, storage, design triad, all the principles. After that, we've got all the unique builds, which is all the stuff that I'm building completely new that no one's seen before. So I can showcase literally what I can do right now and what I know right now.
Yeah.
And then what we're doing is off the back of that, obviously with terrain, there's thousands of techniques you can use. So the idea is there's no way I can do new terrain for all of it.
Yes.
So all the core sections and the core information is brand new. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my videos, through my old content, and then create ancillary support pages.
Gotcha.
So if we say like, right, let's talk about doing thatch roofs. We say, okay, we can do thatch roofs. You can do it with teddy bear fur.
Yes.
And then I can demonstrate that, and I can show the nylon dyeing and all that sort of stuff, and the techniques for combing and trimming and that sort of stuff, sealing. But at the side, I can go along and I can go, right, well, you can also do it with clay. You can do it with terry toweling. You can do it with foam. And then I can include a paragraph, with all the key information for that technique. So if someone comes along and goes, I want to do a thatch roof, I want to do a cottage. I've got all that. I haven't got teddy bear for the thatch roof. Ancillary, there's 1 technique, 2 techniques, 3 techniques, 4 techniques. They can look at what they have got. And at the same time, there's a paragraph to give them enough information to say, yeah, I can give that a go. You know, so it's very much about being practical, rather than just padding it out. There's no point listing 100 techniques with a sentence on each. No one's going to be able to use it. Give them the core information, and then if they haven't got that, or if they haven't got that, point them off in directions and give them the core information on that technique.
And that'll act as a very good index for the content that you already have up, because once you're actually referring to those other videos you've already done, you can just say, so here's a bit.ly that you can just punch into your machine right now, and the video's there for you.
Exactly. So, I mean, obviously it'll be an old video, and some of my old videos, they're recording, you know, for when I start. I go back and I look, some of them are cringy, but
dude,
the information's there. The information's there. So the idea that, there's the technique, there's the ancillary. I'm not quite sure on that. I'll go have a look how Mel did it. The information's there. It's all about enabling build. It's all about dropping these barriers to build. So everything is about multiple options. I don't want a situation where you come to the book, you want to build something, and if you can't do something or you don't have anything, you can't build it. So the idea is quite simple. You do the lot. And then we have so many different alternative techniques for so many different of the stages that there's no barrier to build.
Right. And what are you going to have any advice on where people can actually go hunting for materials?
I've got a wonderful Facebook group. It's got about 18,000 members in, all terrainiacs, and they're my resource. So I've already told them I'm going to be wanting descriptions for all the products for the different countries, where to buy them from. So it doesn't matter what country you're in. Fingers crossed. There's a lot of countries, but generally you should be able to say, right, in my sort of area, I need to be looking for this type of product. And I can get it from these stores.
I'm just thinking if there's going to be one poor little guy down in like Madagascar or something, just going, where the hell do I buy stuff?
It's quite scary. When I look at my analytics of YouTube, I've even got people watching me in China. Now, I don't know how they're getting through the Great Chinese Firewall.
It's probably a VPN or something.
But they're watching me. But I'm watched from every single Antarctica.
Really?
I have viewers in Antarctica.
Okay,
I don't know what gamers or what modelers are in Antarctica, but there's someone in Antarctica who is watching my videos.
See, I guarantee you there's one guy in Antarctica going, well, I can make my terrain out of snow and lay it up outside and it'll never melt.
There'll be one person in Antarctica that goes, Mel, your colours are off on your eyes.
Oh, excuse me.
But literally, I've got terrainiacs from around the world, and I've already sort of engaged them as my group of sort of researchers, my fact checkers. So when I say, right, I'm doing a section, I'm not going to give the book out completely, but I'll say I'm covering this. What am I missing? And then they go, Mel, you're missing that. You forgot that one. Oh yeah. And that's how I can make sure that I'm covering as many techniques. Because you'll know what it's like when it's doing a video. You do a video. Yeah. It goes live. The moment it goes live, you go, I should have mentioned. Yeah. This is my my safety checks. Yeah. To make sure that I don't miss something really obvious. Yeah. So they're there to support me. They're there to give me my different product information in different countries. So it'll be full. The book will be full of useful information. I've told Dave he can have 6 pages. Yeah, that's how many he can have for his admin for, like, you know, the legal stuff and indexes. Yeah. And he said, well, the book may go up to 156 pages. I said, yes, and if it does, you can have 6 pages. The rest are mine. Yeah, it's been quite clear. And it's like...
Why do I get the feeling you've got a row of shark's teeth in there for negotiating?
Well, I mean, to be truthful, I said, look, you know, you handle printing the book, but the content is mine.
That's fair enough.
I said, how many pages do you need? He said 6. So he said, when I said, when I offended, well, you don't need any more pages, do you, Dave? You said you needed 6. So, you know, there's no more legals to cover. Yeah. Those pages are mine. Yeah. So, you know, and I have been a bit firm with this because...
Well, you want it to be what you're wanting to be, because you want people to get the experience and the knowledge that you're wanting to get them from it.
It's also, from one side of point of view, you know, I'm not a company. I don't know if I'm going to get a second chance at this. I don't know if there's going to be another book. I mean, in all our talks, me and Dave have talked a lot over the past year. We've only dedicated 10 minutes of casual chat to, should we do another book afterwards? Yeah, I'm very much focused on the idea that this is my book. Now, a lot of people have sort of turned around and said, you want to hold information back for the second book. And I'm like, no, I don't, because I don't know if that book's coming. This is my one chance. So everything I know that I can fit in this book will be going in it.
Yeah, that, and it's kind of a current affairs thing, because whenever you come to do a book, again, if you do, your techniques will have evolved and changed yet again. So even if there's something you've already covered, you can revisit it in that new book and say, so this is what we briefly talked about in the last book. Here's the page reference. You can go and check that out. Let's continue that conversation. Yeah,
we can certainly delve in deeper, but I mean, one of the issues is the more deeper you go, the less people are interested in it. Yeah, so we've got to be careful about that. Now, the current book is designed on the basis of its advanced techniques, all advanced techniques, presented in a basic manner. So there's no basic and advanced. Because I don't believe in that. The simple fact of when it comes to terrain, we're not surgeons.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do first aid, then you've got the skills. It's not a different class system, if you know what I mean. So
it's the only different. You need to have 3D printers, layers, all this stuff.
Load of rubbish. You know me, PVA, filler, and paint. Let me go. But the fact of the matter is, the difference between basic techniques and advanced techniques is just a bit of knowledge. And a few extra steps.
And a little bit of lateral thinking sometimes.
Sometimes, but at the same time, it's not unachievable for a basic person. So if you present advanced techniques in a basic way, they don't even know they're advanced techniques. They just see it as the introduction. So you get them up to speed a lot quicker. So that's the way I'm approaching this. I don't want this to be a basic book. I don't want people to come along, go through and go, I haven't really learned anything. I want people to be like, I need to read this again. You know what I mean? I want to fill it, but at the same time, I don't want to put people off thinking, oh, this is an advanced book. So pitched at a basic level, but with advanced, knowledge and techniques.
Gotcha. Look, one thing I'm looking forward to seeing from this is whenever you're doing those different project sections in the book, I want to see what sort of, tables people are going to come up with, because once you've given them that rough set of techniques, seeing people actually bring in and just do a full, say, 6
Do you know what?
Table.
It's so rewarding. One of the best things about having the TheTerrainTutor's group is you see what happens after the videos. So I put a video out, and then 2 weeks later, I'll start to see the TheTerrainTutor's there at it, and they're always better. They're always better. And I've got no problem with that. It just amazes me what they come up with. But seeing them take those techniques and just explode with them. I mean, the amount of squirty foam hills I've seen over the past year since I did that video is just phenomenal. And the amount of emails I've had about my wife is angry because this stuff doesn't come off the kitchen counter. And I'm like, I warned you in the video. I had to buy my wife a new kitchen after I first did
Really?
it. Oh, yeah. First time I did it, I didn't know it stuck.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you'd peel it off afterwards, so I just did them straight on the kitchen tops.
You couldn't just sand it down off?
Well, it was one of those nice finished tops. And it was a fitted kitchen, and so she was like, "You're buying me a new kitchen." And this was back when we had the business, and I had a bit more. And I was like, "All right, I'll buy you a new kitchen." Yeah, but now I put down greaseproof paper and I do it in my studio. Yeah. But the amount of emails I had after that saying, "You didn't tell," I was like, "I told you on the video. I told you I had to buy a new kitchen." Yeah, but I do see that. Yeah, and so I'm really looking forward to when the book comes out, watching my Terrainiacs run with it and see what they come up with, because the stuff they do is always amazing.
Yeah. Well, you see, whenever I'm now in here, we do like the boot camps and stuff, and there's times whenever we just go nuts and build a ton of tables.
Yeah, of course.
One thing I will advise everybody is, when you think it's done, take a moment and find some incidental pieces just to lay in through there.
Yeah.
Just because it makes it look lived in.
Yeah, and most definitely.
That's something I find a lot of gamers that go to like tournaments and stuff forget. You can have your basic terrain laid out on a tournament table, but if you throw in a few incidental bits that are going to do nothing in game, but they look pretty, makes it look lived in, and it just brings your table to life.
It's called terrain garnish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it serves no purpose, other than to make it look pretty.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, you go to a posh restaurant, if your plate doesn't come with garnish, it doesn't feel right.
Oh, no,
and the same with the terrain table.
Yeah.
I do the same on the Burma build. I've got scatter pieces, and then I've got just little bases with just a couple of plants on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they serve no purpose. People can move them around on the table, but you drop them in. Beautiful.
Yeah, for me, it's always things like, little terrain boxes, little lampposts, things like that. They bring it to life.
Yeah, it's about setting the scene. And at the end of the day, wargaming is a visual game. That's why we spend hours collecting. That's why we spend hours and days painting. Yeah. Yeah. And the table is no different.
Yeah.
The table is the canvas that we play our game on. Yeah. So the better the table, the more enriching the game.
Yeah, well, it's your window into the world.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And we suspend disbelief, and we have that moment where we drop down to the table and we look down that alley at our models, and it's like, yeah, I can imagine this. There's a guy on that balcony and he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
And it all enables that. So I think terrain's rather important like that. But there's the other side of terrain, the therapeutic side. I mean, from my side, like I said at the start, I came from a bad place mental health wise.
Oh yeah.
But creating is well known within the therapeutic arts as being really good for dealing with mental health issues.
Yeah.
So Wargames terrain, it's actually a form of therapy.
Yeah. Well, there's one shout out I'd like to do. There's actually a charity in the south of England now for ex-military who
the model painters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it gives them a chance to come in, sit down and focus on something other than everything else that's going on in the world around them.
Yeah.
And having projects like that, be it painting, be it terrain, just something that zones you in.
I think that's why, if you notice with this hobby, there's a lot of professional people in this hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that attracts professional people. Not only just the thought process, gaming requires a bit of noggin, you know what I mean, a bit of thinking. But also, when you sit down with whether you're reading, whether you're painting, whether you're building models, that's what you're doing. There is nothing else in the world other than what you're doing, and it's a great switch-off mechanism.
Yeah, you just have that little bubble of what I'm up to.
So, I mean, I love that. I wander into my studio, I shut that door, and the world is gone.
Yeah.
And I am a happy chappy until I open that door again and see what the world is like.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I have the exact same. So I'll get home, and it's something we discussed recently on an XLBS was peak of entertainment. So some of the easiest consumable entertainment that you'll get is like TV, movies, things like that. But with them, you can be distracted very easily.
Yeah.
Whenever you're actually working on a project, it focuses you a lot more than if it's just the noise box in front of you.
It's not just that. I mean, you're not even focused on it when you're doing it. I mean, you're focused on it when you're not doing it. How many times do you wake up in the morning and go, ooh? Yeah. Yeah, or you're at work and you go, ooh. I mean, it's even worse for me because I'm at work and I can do something about it. Well, very much for the same for you as well.
No, I have the exact same, because with us having opened the visitor centre now, I'll be having a conversation with someone and all of a sudden it's just light bulb in the back of my head. Could I throw that into an army list?
Yeah, most definitely. And I get the same with terrain. I see a comment on one of my videos. It's I've got that. I'm going to have a play. But that's the joy of this hobby. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it's one of these hobbies that you get sucked in and you never get out.
Oh, no, never. Now, have you ever done anything where you've actually done, the upgraded board game board for terrain?
Yeah. My wife is bullying me into making 3D costs and own tiles. Yeah, but pretty much any game that comes along, my daughter will find a random game and she'll be like, can you put some mountains on this? Yeah, they've got this game they picked up from the 60s called Yeti.
Right.
And it's about moving around a board with a Yeti chasing you.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
the control of the Yeti goes depending on the dice rolls.
Yeah.
So basically, my son and my daughter spend like a good hour trying to stomp on each other. Yeah. But it's set in snow. So they've slowly been like bugging me to like, right, can we put some mountains and some snowdrifts? Yeah. And it's like, it's a project for the summer for us.
Yeah. Well, you see, I was thinking more along the lines of actually just take something like, say, Luxor, and actually redo the full board as like the deluxe Luxor board that you could then play through and have on your shelf.
There's a few like that. And there was one guy on the Trainiacs group, he did Settlers of Catan.
Oh, nice.
And he did the 3D tiles.
Oh, lovely.
And he did them 3D for all of them. So it was like a big Mighty Empire set.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I had flashbacks to my youth. You know, we used to really play Mighty Empires as a campaign system. We had 2 sets and we played a campaign over a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we actually played every single battle out.
Yeah.
We had Man of War for the naval battles. We had the Citadel Castle for the sieges and the old siege book. I lost my A levels due to that. Due to that campaign, to be truthful.
Yeah. Well, speaking of campaigns, we have went way off topic.
We have.
Sorry, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed that.
Sorry.
We actually have a mock-up of your Kickstarter here. That
we do, and it is in rough draft. We are finishing this off.
Yeah. So anything we see here is subject to change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just caveats in there. So let's start having a look through. So I'm guessing this is your workshop, yeah?
Yeah, that's my little studio up in Spodeworks in Stoke. I mean, it's a tiny studio. It's only 10 foot by 16 foot. Everyone thinks it's bigger, but it's big enough for me to do what I do. And the benefit is I'm all in one place and I'm packed in and I've got everything so I can crack on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a shot that's well used to people now.
Yeah. All right, so let's start rolling down through. So we've got rough cover for the book, I'm guessing?
Yeah, this is a rough cover. Now, everything that we're doing is going to be new builds. So the front cover is mocked up from old images. Yeah, the front cover will be the new images, the new builds and all that sort of stuff. But that's generally what the book's looking like.
And then in through here, is this you announcing it?
It will be announcing. We haven't finished filming that video, so that's a placeholder.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And on down through. So this is some of the different stuffs you're going to be looking at in the book, yeah?
Yeah, that's just a bare scratch of what we're going to be looking at. But essentially what we're doing is we're covering the core theory, the materials, the tools, all the general, all the general areas that need covering, you know, that are common and essential to wargaming.
Yeah, and then we've got your different pledge levels here. So you can jump in. Are you doing a pledge manager afterwards? For
we've got backer kit on board, so and it'll be PayPal version. So if you want to jump on board for the pledge levels and that sort of stuff, we've essentially mirrored Dave's campaign because it worked for him. Yeah. So the idea of a PDF version, a physical book version, and then stepping up with combinations between the two.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing a share the love actual pledge, because then if I've got it and I've got a mate that I work on tables together with, I can go, here, happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can club in together and both get a copy of the book at a discounted price, of course.
Yeah. And then moving on through. So your main funding goal is 40k.
Yeah, but because it's me and Dave, Sorry, we were debating actually. It was like, should we do 45? I'm like, no, do 40k. Yeah, we've got to do 40k. Yeah, but because it's me and Dave, it's slightly higher than his book.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to make sure that we can fund the book. Yeah. And fund the print run and the distribution. And we looked at it and it was like, right, that's the level that we can make the book happen for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was we didn't want any problems. So we've got Brexit coming along. We're not sure how that's going to affect, and no one knows how that's going to, if it even happens.
It's all went a bit Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it has. And without going in too deep, we've factored, a fudge factor in for that to make sure everyone gets the book. And
it's good that you're doing that, because then you have that buffer zone.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think even in the risks, we've sort of factored in, look, Brexit, we've got a buffer zone for that. So even worst case scenario, and I think World Trade Organization and all that sort of stuff, we can deliver this book.
Yeah.
Now, all the stretch goals, and we're still planning them out, but all the stretch goals, books are made essentially in sheaths, which is a combination of 16 pages. And so to expand a book, they expand in a half sheath or a sheath, so 8 or 16 pages. So all our stretch goals are geared about giving me more pages.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a big list of what I want to put on those pages, and they're all prioritized, so it will always be the best book I can make depending on how far we go. Yeah. And I'll be able to fill it without padding it out. Maximum I've got is 150 pages and 6 for Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I planned out 150 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I get it, I know exactly where I'm putting in all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
See,
I don't,
I like that idea, because even if it goes beyond your final big, huge stretch goal,
yeah.
you know, people are knowing they're getting a premium product at that
Yeah,
stage.
exactly. We didn't. What we wanted to do was we looked at add-ons and could we take the stretch goals, and it was like, no. What we want to do is produce a terrain book.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with funding a terrain book,
Yeah.
and we'll finish with funding the best terrain book we can print at the time. And we capped it at 156 pages because Dave was explaining to me that after you go across that, international shipping from the printers gets silly because it drops into a different weight category when you add them all together.
Clever.
Yeah, so it was the same with his book. It would have significantly upped the cost of production. I mean, the shipping is actually more than the book in some cases, you know, when you go up.
Yeah, I suppose you're getting it printed. What is it, in China?
No, Lithuania.
Ah, I see.
So Dave's already got the best thing about Dave already going through the process is he's already made the mistakes and built the relationships.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we don't have any worries on that. So we're going with exactly the same printers, exactly the same distributors and shippers that Dave's used for his book. So we know no problems.
Yeah.
He knows them by name.
Aye.
You know what I mean? He's already paid money to them for his book. So there's a working relationship, and that's always better than starting with a new one and trying to figure out how do we do this. And also the little scary things you don't figure out in projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's already made those mistakes.
Yeah.
We've already factored them into this campaign, so they're not a problem.
Yeah. Well, Mel, it sounds like it's going to be an absolute fabulous one. Can you tell us when it's going to be running? Just
Right.
to
It
remind everybody?
launches on the 15th of March. Okay. And it's running, I think, for 38 days. Now we've chosen a slightly extended campaign for one specific reason. It starts on the 15th of March, and Dave's over for Salute.
Yes.
Yeah. He's spending a week in Nottingham, seeing the guys over there. Then at the weekend when it finishes on the Sunday, we've actually planned for the campaign to finish when I do my Sunday nighter show. So me and Dave will be at my house streaming live when the campaign finishes. So it's slightly longer than normal, but it was the only way we could sort of work it so that we're here at the end, you know, one big final one. So we're having a launch party, and we're having a close party. And hopefully we're celebrating. Well, I'm sure we'll be celebrating. It's just how many stretch goals we hit and how big of a book. And then the next day I'll be crying when I realise I've got to write it. But in all seriousness, what I've actually done is over the past couple of months, I've done a lot of content and a lot of work behind the scenes so that when it comes to writing it, my YouTube stuff is 90% already there. So I don't have to worry about that. So I've got the time. And so it's like, I know what I've got to do. I've got the time. We can do it. And I've sort of put in everything in place to make sure we can do it. And there's no...
You're not robbing Peter.
Exactly. I'm not saying I can't write this because I need to do this Patreon content because that's how I make my living, you know, day to day. And so all that's been factored in. With it being my one chance, every box has been ticked that we can think of.
All right. Well, here's a question for you. So if anyone's actually wanting to meet up with you during the actual campaign, are there any shows or anything people...
I'm traveling. Dave has got me traveling.
Oh, he's got you. Yeah.
I am across at Adepticon this year.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm actually flying in a couple of days early. I'm spending the week over in Chicago. So I'll be there at the start of the convention. I'll be there at the end of the convention. And I will be around the convention all the time. So anyone can grab me who wants to grab me. On top of that, we've got Salute, and you don't miss Salute, do you?
Of course, you don't miss Salute.
Not as the UK.
It's the one in your backyard.
Exactly. So I'll be at Salute as well, and then it's a week after that campaign. There's no other events in between that I can actually go to. Right. So Adepticon and Salute, I'll be there. You can grab me. Other than that, every Sunday night on my live show. You know, and one of the good things about this is we're vlogging. The process of the book. A bit like I was recording here earlier with you guys, you know, this process. And so every week, the backers will get an update on a Sunday in the morning. And then if they've got any questions, I'm live on Sunday evening where they can go, Mel, how are you doing? Have you thought about this? How's are you on time? You know, so feedback wise with regards to the project, it's not just constant updates. It's the ability every week to actually physically get hold of me and ask me live, are you on course? Are there any problems? And also it gives me a chance to go, guys, I'm a little bit behind with this one. I'm going to hammer it next week. We'll get caught up. But everyone knows where we stand. So a lot of communication in this campaign. Not just during the campaign, but through the actual writing as well. Because the vlog series will continue after the campaign. So everyone will know where I am, what's been done,
Yeah.
every step.
That's really, really impressive. All right, well, Mel, it's been a pleasure having you in. I am looking forward to seeing what happens with your Terrain Essentials book.
It's going to be a ride, buddy.
Yeah. All right, well, everybody, tell you what, get your comments in below. Are you excited for this one? Is there any particular type of terrain that you think Mel should be maybe adding into this book?
Yeah, anything you want in the book, throw it down. The chances are I've already thought about it, or my Terrainiacs have, but if you haven't, we'll get it in.
All right, we'll move on. We'll see you again soon.